Pig Nuts, Week 18, coming to you live from the Pig Pen. This is Piggy himself, and I have rolled around in a decent amount of mud this weekend. Not too much mud, a fair amount of mud. Bet you didn't think you were getting Week 18 Pig Nuts, did you? Fantasy football season over, Pig Nuts not over, because I'm number one. Let's start with, of course, congrats to the winner, Natsky. Also, congrats to me for getting third. Didn't want to say too much about it. Beat Shemmer, said I was going to get the bronze. I got the bronze. Congrats to Natsky. Last week I predicted that he would beat Avi. He smoked Avi 119 to 86. Congrats to Avi. Congrats to Natsky. I guess congrats to Avi too for making it to the championship. I assumed that either me or Shemmer would win the league. We did not. Natsky's team got hot late. I think he was in fifth going into the playoffs to fifth or sixth. He was almost out of the playoffs for a couple weeks. Made it all the way back. Good for Natsky. His team was very good. Got hot at the right time. Congrats on the win. Start with who's back, who's dead, who's not back but not dead. Who's back? Dr. Love. Dr. Love. I don't know if you remember this guy from 2016. He's the kid who's like this and he pretended to be a doctor. Malachi Love Robinson, originally arrested in February 2016 for practicing without a license, then for illegally buying a car with a fake credit card, now rerouting payments from a shipping broker to his personal account. He's charged with grand theft and organized scheme to defraud. He's that kid who got arrested for being a doctor originally. He was like checking on patients and charging them a bunch of money. Undercover cop comes and arrests him. The kid like that. Hilarious story. One of the biggest bamboozlers of all time, Dr. Love. He's a legend. Next up, we got Space Race. The Space Race is back. The head of NASA, which blew my mind that it's Bill Nelson. Kaufman said, oh, of course it's Bill Nelson. He loves space. Okay, he's super not qualified to be the head of NASA, and he's 85 years old, and he's a former senator from Florida. But I guess he likes space, and I guess he went there one time, but so did Lance Bass. He's not the head of NASA. Says that the race to the moon between U.S. and China is getting tighter, and the next 2 years could determine who gains the upper hand. He's worried Beijing could establish dominance on resources and keep us out. I have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. We've all been to the moon. Is it that hard to go? I think we can go to the moon today if we wanted to go to the moon, right? Like we've been a bunch of times. I don't know why he thinks that China can just get up there and block us from going to the moon. It's crazy. I think he just wants more funding, I assume, and he's trying to get people scared that China's going to take the moon. I also think there's like an intergalactic federation that polices this stuff out there. Maybe that's why Trump made Space Force. Not so funny now. Space Force, World War IV in space versus China. Crazy story. Crazy that Bill Nelson's the head of NASA. I assume we would win. I don't think there is a space race. I don't know. I guess there's that show on Apple that I haven't watched. It's supposed to be good. I'll watch it soon. Next up on Who's Back? Gun safety. Gun safety is back. A first grade class. A kid in a first grade class got into an argument with his teacher, and during this argument pulls out a gun and shot her. It was not an accident. It was a dispute, and a 6-year-old kid in Virginia had a gun and decided to shoot his teacher. So gun safety. Second Amendment back. Good that 6-year-olds have guns. Hooray, us, America. Next up on Who's Back, we got the Jags. Last night we had a win and in situation between the Titans and the Jags. Titans are starting Josh Dobbs, who of course is not very good. I think he's a little better than Malik Willis, but he's still not very good. And of course the Jags have been hot. They got T-Law, Etienne, who they didn't use at all last night, which was weird. But they looked like shit for like 4 quarters, and the Titans looked like they were going to win. Of course they have Derrick Henry, who really didn't do that much either. Their defense was playing very good. Vrabel's good. I guess they're in the same division. They always play each other hard. I thought Shemmer was going to have heartbreak in Duval. Lucky for them, they got a pick 6, or was it a fumble recovery 6? Return touchdown, either way. Defense won the game for them. Jags are in the playoffs. After back-to-back first-round picks, Jags are in the playoffs. Duval forever. Shemmer forever. You're back. You're up. Hooray for Duval. Hooray for the Jags. Hooray for Shemmer. Lastly, on Who's Back, we got Turkey. The country, is it a country or continent? I think it's a country. Country of Turkey. Tired of being the butt of jokes and, all the Turkey jokes that we have, decided that they're now going to be named Turkey. Turkey. And they're spelling it now T-U with it's like a smiley face with the dot on top. R-K-I-Y-E. Turkey. They're done with being regular turkey. Now they're that turkey. I assume this is putting tons of map salesmen out of business. The map business was already very hard for a while. No one's buying maps now with the internet and computers. Those guys all have a backlog of maps with regular turkey on them. They don't have the new turkey. They have to reprint all these maps. They're going out of business. Terrible time for maps people. They're dead. Country of Turkey, I guess, back. Who's dead? Everyone in Mexico after El Chapo's son was arrested. There's bedlam going on in Mexico. I didn't do enough research. I don't know what part of Mexico it is. I assume just the whole country of Mexico is being exploded. But they arrest El Chapo's son. It's the second time they've tried to do this. The first time they arrest him, and the gangs and cartels are like, we're going to kill you guys, and we're stronger and a better military than your military because you're Mexico. And we're just going to kill you guys all if you don't give him back. So they gave him back. This time, I guess they did a bunch of coke and said, let's go arrest El Chapo's son again. And they all speed up, arrest El Chapo's son. The cartels are chasing after them. They're bombing each other back and forth. Tons of explosions. They're shooting at planes in the air, just like regular planes. Seems like a bad time to be in Mexico. I don't think they've given El Chapo's son back. I assume they're eventually going to. The cartel pretty strong. I don't know why America doesn't go and help them. I think we're Mexico's friend. I don't know. Seems crazy, though. The videos are pretty wild. Who else is dead? Any kids watching porn in Louisiana, they passed this new act where, like when you're 13 and you start just going on your family computer and watching porn. They can't do that anymore. They have to put in a license. They have to like KYS themselves, not kill yourself, CYA or whatever it is, where they have to prove their identity. They have to like have a license from the state and prove that they're over 18 to watch porn. Crazy. You have to like borrow your dad's license to say that you want to jerk off. Ridiculous. Kids have to wait till 18 to watch porn in Louisiana. They're super dead. Lastly, on who's dead, we got airline ground crew member who got ingested by an engine. That's how they put it. Ingested by an engine. Makes it sound better than just ripped apart by an engine. In Montgomery, Alabama, he was working for American Airlines, and I guess the guy turned on the engine too quick, immediately chopped him into a billion pieces. Not great for him. Pretty bad start to the new year. Who's not back but not dead? Who's not back but not dead? Ron Jeremy, the Jewish hedgehog. He is on trial. He was being tried for rape and a bunch of other sexual assaults. Turns out he was not the best guy in the world. He's been doing porn since the 70s and he thought he can just do whatever he wants all the time. Turns out you can't just like rape and sexually assault people outside of set or even on set. Good for him, though. He has severe dementia, so he's not going to be tried anymore. Not great having severe dementia. They said they don't know. He doesn't know where he is. I don't know if he's just hedgehogging it. But they're not going to try him for the time being. Seems like not a great ending for Ron Jeremy either way. But he's always a legend, and he's a Jew, so we got to rep him. Not great. Not back, but not dead. Next up, this is a sad story. Peyton Hillis. Peyton Hillis, hero and Madden cover alumni. Peyton Hillis on the Browns. Not the best Madden cover, but it's cool to be on the Madden cover. He was very good for that like 1 year span where he made the Madden cover and then he immediately fell off. But he saved his children from drowning, and unfortunately, while he was doing so, like really screwed himself up. He's in the ICU. Praying for Peyton Hillis. Wonderful guy. Saved his family. That's serious sad story for Peyton Hillis. Next up, we got Prince Harry's penis. Prince Harry's penis says he had a frostbitten penis at Prince William and Kate Middleton's wedding in April of 2011. He went to the North Pole for a month before, and he had a bunch of frostbite, but he didn't tell anyone until now. He's coming out with like this memoir, and he says that he like killed a bunch of Taliban members, and he had a frostbitten penis at the wedding. He says it took a really long time for his frostbitten penis to get back to normal. I assume it's back to normal now. I guess he could be lying and it could still be weird. But yeah, he had a frostbitten penis at the wedding. That was a big story that dropped this week. Not back, but not dead. Jeremy Renner. Of course, from the Hurt Locker. He's also from Marvel movies. He's Hawkeye. I haven't seen the Marvel movies. I don't know who Hawkeye is. I used to read comic books, I guess, but I don't know who Hawkeye is. I guess he's big. He's in critical but stable condition in the ICU. He was run over by his own snowplow on New Year's Day, a 7-ton snowplow. Pretty ridiculous. Guess he's a superhero to survive that, though. He did send a selfie out. Looks like he's going to survive. Just huge bummer. Not a great way to start the new year for Jeremy Renner either. Lastly, we got Kevin McCarthy and the House Speaker race. This went 15 rounds. the most ridiculous thing ever if you're watching it. It's hilarious, but it's also not hilarious because this is our government and it's super ridiculously stupid. Longest speaker race since 1859. Basically, you have like the super right Nazi, like QAnon Republicans that are not voting for him because they want all this power and they're asking him to give them a bunch of shit. And McCarthy keeps giving them stuff, and then they realize they can just keep asking for more stuff. And McCarthy eventually like has to like beg and grovel Matt Gaetz and Bobart, disgusting. And like finally he gets in the 15th round. Ridiculous, ridiculous. These guys, they have guys coming up in the Republican Party and they're voting Kevin Hearn, and it's like the stupidest thing ever. Gates is voting for Trump. Ridiculous. We got Hakeem Jeffries on the Democrat side, who, of course, all the Democrats voted for. He seems great. He came up and did like a little rap song after he lost. It was pretty cool. It's nonsense. The House is nonsense. The government is nonsense. They had two dudes like fighting each other on the floor. One guy tried to get in Gates's face, and some other guy like choked him out. Big nonsense. Kevin McCarthy with the win, kind of, but I think he had to sell his soul to get it. Also, I feel like nothing's getting passed in the next 2 years. So that's a bummer. But it was interesting to watch, I guess. Show of the week. Kaleidoscope. Kaleidoscope on Netflix. It's this crazy, weird show they've been talking about for years, how it's mind-bending and it's gonna blow your mind. You can watch it in any order, which I guess is cool. There's 5,040 combinations of ways to watch it. It's with the guy from Breaking Bad, who the Pollo Loco guy, Giancarlo Esposito, I think. He's good. A master thief and his crew attempt an epic and elaborate heist worth $7 billion, but betrayal, greed, and other threats undermine their plans. So you can watch these episodes anyway. There's people online telling you which was the best way to watch it. They haven't watched all 5,040. How do they know? I don't know. You just click it and start watching it. I've seen I've seen like 1.5 episodes. I guess it's good. It's more of like a thing. I don't think the show's that good. It's just like, it's cool. It's a cool thing. So it's worth watching. Ideas for next year's league. Superflex. Tight end position is pretty dead. Weird year for tight end. If you don't have like the top two guys, you're basically just throwing darts. Superflex. I'm in another Superflex league with some Tallahassee attorneys up here. It's kind of a pain in the ass. It's kind of good. I'm back and forth on it. It's where basically you have two QBs. You're picking up some pretty sketchy quarterbacks midway through the season, but it adds more skill and it's something new to add maybe. On to picks of the week. We got Finns need a win and they need a Pats loss. We do not control our own destiny anymore after shitting the bed 5 times in a row. Disgusting. We got Skylar Thompson versus Flacco. Teddy Bridgewater's dead. Every time he comes in, he breaks something. Tua's concussed forever. Skylar Thompson, who I'm not very confident in, is starting. Joe Flacco's starting. Zach Wilson's, of course, benched forever. And Mike White broke all his ribs. Going to be a disgusting game. Armstead's out for us, which is not good. A ton of Jets are also out, though. It's going to be real toilet bully there. It's 37 over under, and like it's not going to be good. I do think the Finns pull it out. I think Skylar does enough. Just run the ball, do some quick slants. Jets, I don't even think they're already eliminated. They don't want to win this game. Joe Flacco's whatever. Skylar should be fine. We should win. Finns, the line shifted a ton from Mike White to Joe Flacco, which I don't really understand. But Finns were, I think, it was like a 5-point swing. It was like Finns were plus 2.5, and now they're minus 3.5. A lot of Jets teams out. Finns minus 3.5 at home. Finns get it done. And next, the Bills, of course, horrible situation with, I didn't even do Hamlin. Hamlin's who's back, of course. We all saw Monday Night Football. Of course, horrific. Not just for fantasy football, for real life. First time I've ever seen a game get canceled in real time. I think it was like 50 years or 60 years. It's crazy. First quarter, I think it was the end of the first quarter. Bills, Bengals, Monday Night Football. Hamlin and T. Higgins collide on like a pretty normal play. People were trying to talk shit about T. Higgins. Ridiculous. T. Higgins didn't do anything wrong. I feel super bad for T. Higgins too. Hamlin gets up and then like falls. DeMar Hamlin gets up and then falls back down. Like super scary. Like what happened? Did he tear his aorta? Did he like have a seizure? Did he have a heart attack? What just happened? It's chaos, and they're like talking live and the announcers are confused, the players are confused, no one knows what's going on. They do 8 minutes of CPR on this guy. His heart stopped. They had to revive him. They have to intubate him. Horrible. It seems like this guy's like gonna die. Huge bummer. Game is canceled. Players are in shambles. The announcers are in shambles. Twitter's it's horrible, horrible, worst situation I've ever seen live in a game. I guess. Luckily, Hamlin's a fighter. Next few days, he starts becoming responsive. He's gotten his tube taken out. He's actually talking. He's zoomed into the team meeting. So amazing recovery for Hamlin. Luckily, one of the best places for this to happen, of course, is in a football game where there's tons of medical staff on both sides. They were able to get to him in time, do the CPR, get him to the hospital. He didn't lose. It looks like he didn't lose too much brain function. He was able to talk. He asked who won the game, and they said you won the game of life. A little corny, but good for the doctors, I guess. So that brings me back to, of course, Bills versus Patriots. We need the Bills to beat the Patriots. The Bills are, I think, still playing for something, even, and they're playing for Hamlin. They are going to come out emotionally very strong. They're at home. Bill Stadium is going to be on fire. Pats need a win. Of course, Belichick has a good defense. I think the Bills still dominate them. Bills at home -8 at Pats. Bills by 1,000 for Hamlin. Lastly, not lastly, we got two more. Steelers -2.5 at home versus the Browns. Steelers kind of can get in if the Pats and the Finns lose. They're all at 1 p.m. Like I said last week, Tomlin has like 20 years in a row of a winning record. They're 8-8 right now. He wants the winning record. I think they're better than the Browns. Browns are huge frauds. Clowney quit on the team. Steelers I like at home -2.5. And then lastly, Aaron Rodgers is in a win and get in. If he beats the Lions at home, I like that -5. Last but not least, I am really trying to go on the ski trip. I'd love to. Thank you, Weisberg, for inviting me. Very nice. Seems like going to be a great time. Not sure I'm going to be able to swing it, which is a huge bummer. I've been looking at flights forever. I have to be at work on Monday morning. I just don't see it happening. Huge bummer. Would love to go on another trip. I thank you for that. And love you all. And maybe there'll be more pig nuts in the future. Who knows? Have a day.